I'm Commander Shepard, and the Unnamed Games podcast is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. Shepard out.
Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to episode 34 of the Unnamed Games podcast. I'm Craig, your usual host, and this week I have, again, two very fine gentlemen with me, and I shall introduce them now. Mr. Allen, how are you, mate?
I'm so glad, just before we came on, that you changed my name there, because it said something very rude before that you changed it to, and I didn't see you change it back. So just for the children's sake, I'm very glad that actually says my name now. Very happy to be here. And very happy to see you both.
Oh, so sweet. You're so sweet. And Mr.
I love
Phil,
you.
And Mr. Speed Freak Phil, how are you, mate?
Woo! Unnamed Games podcast. Woo!
That's bit too much energy, man. Tone it down.
Read the room, Phil.
Just topped up on some coffee, and normally I'm decaf at this time in the evening because otherwise I'm awake till 2 a.m. But I thought, no, tonight I have earned a coffee.
Nice bank holiday, baby.
Have my coffee. It's a bank holiday. Yeah, I did think about alcohol. And I was like, maybe after the pod. Things get a bit rowdy once you've got a pint in you or two. So instead, hyped up on caffeine. Ooh,
Quality stuff. Cool. Right. Well, this week we're going to talk a bit around Epic, the Epic Games studio, around Respawn as well, and also some financials coming out of Microsoft. But as per usual, before we go down that road, I'm going to find out what everyone's been up to. So I'm going to go to Mr. Phil first. What have you been up to this week, my friend?
It's going to go to me this week. This week has actually been a bit of a quiet week for me. I have been quite busy with work and doing events there. So I've spent basically zero time on my Xbox. I think technically I played on my Xbox last Sunday, and we go Saturday to Saturday for the pod. So it kind of counts that I played some Xbox on the Sunday, and that was a bit of Outriders, but that's really it. I haven't even had that much time to watch TV, but I did, as of this morning, play sort of 2 to 3 hours of Returnal on the PS5.
As I have as well, yeah.
Yes, it's been having some really good reviews come out of it. It's got some fantastic sort of gameplay and mechanics. It's very much like it's a third person over the shoulder shooter, but it plays when you fight enemies a bit like Nier Automata, where you're dodging like rows of bullets coming at you. So it almost turns into like kind of crazy bullet hell game at the same time as the kind of third person over the shooter. There's no cover mechanics or anything, so it's kind of like Control in that sense, that it's a lot about the movement and the jumping and the dodging. But yeah, it's a really interesting game to play. The combat's really good fun and quite very challenging, I think is the term. I'm going to go very challenging.
I'd go with very.
Yeah. And basically, every time you die in the game, it resets you back to the start. So they call it a roguelike. So you start off and you build up and you get yourself a nice gun, you pick up some upgrades, and you're like, yes, I'm feeling good. And then you get your ass wiped out by some horrible boss, and you start back at zero again. And the first time it happened to me, I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I got this awesome assault rifle, and it had like seeking missiles on it, and I was like wiping out enemies. Took out like 20 of them. I was like, yes. This big dude just comes slapped me. I was dead. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I think for me, some of the things with that game that really kind of that really interest me is some of the crazy mechanics they're putting. For example, you kill 2 or 3 enemies, I think it is, and you get an adrenaline boost. Every 3, is it? Sorry.
Every 3, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get, it'd be like a random upgrade. It might be, like I said, heat-seeking missiles or faster reload, or you take less damage, and it increases up to 5 levels of adrenaline. But every time you get hit, it wipes that adrenaline back to 0 again. So that's quite an interesting...
There's a real risk-reward, yeah.
Yeah.
Do I hide a bit longer and keep my upgrade boost?
Where is this game available? Returnal?
This is a PlayStation 5 game, so it is an exclusive. Sorry, Al.
Won't be playing that then.
Yeah, it is incredibly pretty as well.
I was going to say that, yeah. I mean, the particle effects in that game are pretty amazing. The lighting effects they've done in that game is very, very dark and moody, and it's like the style of like the aliens, like the Xeno kind of morphs. It's got a very kind of alien sort of feel to the aliens, if you know what I mean, as opposed to Buzz Lightyear aliens, I suppose, where they're round and fluffy and squeaky. Exactly, yeah. It's not like that. It's a very kind of very Giga-ish, I suppose, in the design of the alien as well. And also I forgot to say, the map resets every time you die as well. So it's procedurally generated. So every time you die, you sort of start again from zero, and you've got no weapons. And there's only, like Craig said, a couple of the upgrades sort of carry over, like your health upgrades will carry over. But otherwise, everything else, you've got to go find new weapons and new consumables. And then you have to re-explore the map again. And you're like, brilliant, I know where I'm going. And it's changed. And the teleport's in a different place, and the door's in a different place. And just this mysterious signal that you're chasing after in the distance is forever in the distance. I mean, I'm not even sure I'm ever going to get there. But,
you
maybe.
will, mate. You will.
One day.
Yeah, I think I'm probably about nearly 5 hours in now, I think. Maybe 4.5 hours. So I've got a little bit further ahead than you have. And the thing, again, I like about the roguelike part of it is that although it is a complete reset going back to the beginning again, every time you reset, something's changed, whereas you might find something different or a new area might pop up that's kind of strange and mysterious. It's been in the trailers. I don't know. Have you seen something from her past on Earth yet?
So I got a couple of cutscenes from I got some stuff from when she died. I think the second time it showed me slightly different to the first time she died.
Yeah,
and it had some kind of flashbacks there. So I don't think I've got quite that far.
Well, I won't go too far in or too much detail into it because I don't want to spoil too much. But every time you go in, there's little nuggets of story, and it's a really cool psychological sort of horror sci-fi story to it. Very, very cool so far. Really like it. You'd definitely like it, Alan. The story on it.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere on it.
Sorry, Phil, I've taken over your segment there, mate.
No, it's the thing. I didn't have much to talk about this week, so it's fine. But yeah, I'd highly recommend that. It is also at the new benchmark, $69.99 next gen games price as well. So do be aware. It does sting the wallet a little bit, but totally worth it. Yeah. And it's not like you're going to get discount on PlayStation 5 next gen games anytime soon anyway. No. Demon's Souls has been 69 quid and the console's been out like 6 months now. That ain't changing.
Yeah, it'll be a little while, I think, before we start to see anything like that change. So.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, great stuff. Cool. Well, let's go over to Mr. Allen next. What you been up to, my man?
Well, it's been a bittersweet week, really, because I remember last week when we were on, I said I hadn't actually watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet. So I finished and then went and watched that. And then I was like, oh, my God, it's the last episode. I didn't know it was the last. I didn't realize it was only 6 episodes long. And as we've said before, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think I'm the same as you, Craig. I definitely enjoyed WandaVision more as a whole, but that's not to say that I didn't enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was fantastic as a more actiony type thing to watch. Short and sweet is sometimes great, but I was very disappointed when it ended, thinking, I was hoping for more of this because I'm really enjoying it. And the other thing that ended this week was Invincible, which I watched the last episode of that last night. And oh my God, that was. I mean, that series has just been phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal. And have you watched the last episode yet, Phil?
I'm still catching up. You see, I watched about 4 and then I stopped because I wanted it to finish because it's a so much shorter animation style. Like I do this with anime as well. I tend to watch like a block of it and I wait for the next block. Otherwise, I start chomping at the bit when I get to the end of an episode, and then I have to wait a week, and it drives me around the bend. So I have to pick a suitable stopping point and just be like, no, don't even think about it until there's more out. So I've got that to look forward to now.
I've just been wowed so many times, and that last week's episode and the last episode this week has just been phenomenally good. Excellent writing, amazing animation, and it's my understanding, I think you said, Craig, that they've just been given another 2 seasons. So they've just been that is just fantastic news. I cannot wait for that. Definitely. But I think the series should basically be renamed from Invincible to Punchbag, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not saying anymore. Invincible is. He was a bit optimistic when he gave himself that name. To be fair, because he gets the crap kicked out of him on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think with that game as well. That show is the amount of famous voice actors in that is just like nearly every single person in it is like almost, the top tier voice talent or TV talent. Most of the cast of The Walking Dead's in it, and I didn't even realise until right at the end that the guy who makes the suits for the superheroes is actually voiced by Mark Hamill. I didn't even realise.
No way! I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that either.
Jeez, that is cartoon royalty. That is.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you like how much weight they're starting to put behind a lot of these animated series now. Like previously animation's been considered very almost childish other than like the kind of Japanese anime style stuff. Anything Western still considered.
I don't know
childish,
whether
and now
it must have. Sorry, it must have certainly helped. What with COVID and a lot of movie stars sitting at home with nothing else to do. Oh, by the way, you can do this over the internet, and you don't need to come into work. That's certainly
maybe that's it.
got a few people to sign on, and once they've signed on for a couple of series, they're stuck with it, kind of thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, because I have to say, some of those people, it's not the first thing that they've done. Zachary Quinto, J.K. Simmons. They have done stuff before. Maggie O. They have done stuff before, and they're just so good, so good. The quality in this is just phenomenal.
Could be a snakes on a plane kind of scenario, like it's great, and then Samuel L. Jackson's like, yeah, I'm in on that, and they're like, oh, have 100 million to make it. Or in this case, they get somebody interested, and like, he's in it. Yeah, I'll do that. Let's all just jump on board.
So that's been the series that I've watched, and both have ended. So I've got to look for other things to watch now, because I used to like that. It's the old school from when I was a kid, coming home on a Friday and going, oh, it's on TV tonight. Oh, it's Doctor Who, or it's whatever series. And now they've both ended, and there's nothing to look forward to on a Friday except cold oblivion. I've also, of course, been playing Terraria, and had a little bit of a play one evening with you, Craig, with Second Extinction, which I know you're going to talk about later on. And I've watched 3 movies this week. 3 movies. First one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, upon your recommendation last week.
What do you think?
It's good. It's good. I mean, it didn't blow me out of the water in the sense of the story. I thought I can see Quentin's trying to be a bit clever and, mixing around with the Manson murders and all that stuff. But it is quintessentially a story about the main character, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Kit Dalton, and his friend and stuntman driver, whatever we call him, Cliff, played by Brad Pitt. And I have to say, they were both phenomenal. They really make the movie, especially Brad Pitt. I mean, Leonardo is amazing, but Brad Pitt, he's just awesome in this. Absolutely awesome. And it's not the first time I've said that about him in a film. And Margot Robbie is Sharon Tate, although I have to say a lot of the bits with Sharon Tate in there seem to me to be like, why are they even in here? You're just proving the point about changing the timeline. As good as she was, they didn't add anything to the story, like when she goes to the cinema. But so the story could have been doing with about half an hour long, but that's Quentin.
I love the Bruce Lee
doesn't
bit.
know. Yeah, that's a phenomenal scene. Yeah, where Cliff fights Bruce Lee. It's just so good. Oh, it is. And the actor, I can't remember his name, to be honest, but who played that? He was so. I just wanted you'll take the water out of the cup. I'm not going to do the impersonation, but anyway, he was so good. Overall, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like I came away going, "Wow, that was an amazing movie." It was more the performances
no Pulp Fiction
than the story. I also last night I watched Without Remorse, which is the new big movie on Prime.
I'm watching that when we get off this podcast, so don't say too much.
Yeah.
It's the new Michael B. Jordan one, yeah?
It is. It's the new Michael B. Jordan film.
One you recommended to me as well.
Yeah, and all I'm going to say is that if you like action films, then you'll enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's not breaking any boundaries here. It's not rewriting the script. It's a Tom Clancy novel about a covert plot. I mean, that describes every book he's ever written, quite frankly. Yeah. It's not particularly different from anything else, but it's done really well, and it's done really slick. And Michael B. Jordan,
The Equalizer.
Yeah, or was it what's the one with Tom Cruise in? It's he does Jack Ryan or whatever. Yeah,
Jack
Reacher. Jack Reacher. That's it. But Michael B. Jordan, he's a good actor. We've already talked about him doing Killmonger the other day, and in Black Panther, and he really is a good actor, and he puts in a solid performance. The story is solid, if quite predictable, and the action is done really, really well. I enjoyed it. I wasn't like wow, but it was good. It was a good, enjoyable flick to watch. A little bit long, just over 2 hours, almost 2 hours. And the third film I watched was Escape from Pretoria, also on Prime. This is a movie with 2 Daniels in it, actually. Daniel Radcliffe and Daniel Webber. Now, Daniel Radcliffe, I think, is really underrated. I think he gets like the Harry Potter moniker, and he's tried very hard to get rid of that. And he's done a lot of sort of off the hoof movies like Horns, which was just, I don't know whether you've ever watched that, but it's just very strange and very weird and absolutely freaking awesome.
Didn't he do one where he was a dead body?
Yes, I haven't watched that one yet, but basically, yes, it's like Weekend at Bernie's, but he's just being cut, and the guy uses him for all sort of weird things, like he's his like gaseous farts to like go across a river while he's sitting on him. It's weird, very weird. I've not watched it. I don't know what it's like. But this film is basically a story about two people called Tim Jenkins and Stephen Lee, it's in 1979 South Africa, and it's about these two guys who go on anti-apartheid missions. Are basically arrested and put in jail for 12 and 8 years respectively. It's a true story, and it's basically the story of their escape from the prison. And it's not a long film. It's an hour and 40 minutes, which these days, you talk 2 hours for most big budget films. It only came out last year, but I have to say, out of all the three films I've mentioned right now, it's the one I enjoyed the most. I really rated Daniel Radcliffe's performance. Daniel Webber, he's been in, I think he was in Punisher, the first series. Not a massively known actor, but both solid performances from both.
Who did he play in Punisher?
I can't remember. I don't remember. He's a youngish lad. I think he played one of the soldier dudes, but I'm not sure. I'll let you laugh. But they're both fantastic in this, and I think the story really sells it. It's a solid story with enough suspense in it to keep you interested. Fantastic performances and a good payoff in the end. And it's a true story. You're doing your research, Craig, so I better keep on talking, even though I've run out of things to say.
No, just keep. I don't recognise him. I was just checking who Daniel Webber was.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoyed the film, and I think, again, I don't know whether it's my age as well. Obviously, I was around in 1979, and it's very clear to me about that time in South African history and with apartheid and the things that they were going through with Nelson Mandela and stuff like that. That it kind of rings home. But I don't think you need that to enjoy the good acting and the good script and the good direction that the film has. So I would recommend that, Escape from Pretoria on Prime as well. And that was my week.
Cool, good stuff.
What about you?
Well, for me, I guess the best thing to talk about is Second Extinction, really. Obviously, I've already mentioned a little bit about Returnal that I've been playing. But yeah, Second Extinction, myself and Alan decided, let's have a little jump on, because it came onto Game Pass. It's on the game preview. So it's a bit stripped down in terms of features and things. It's quite a small map and stuff. But the basic idea is you can go in as a team of 3. You're dinosaur slayers to slay mutant dinosaurs. So you start in a dropship, you jump in the dropship, fly down onto the ground, and you carry miniguns, grenade launchers, grenades, all that kind of stuff, and it's just absolute carnage. Me and Alan did a mission where we had to infiltrate a mine, where we had to
fun.
we had to put C4 explosives all over these 2 mine carts and kind of guide them all the way down into the mine shafts, and when you got down to the bottom to set it off, that's when it all kicked off. It was like the dinosaur hive.
I do, but if I remember rightly, Craig, I think what I said at the time was, oh my god! I think that's what I said, but don't quote me.
Something pretty much exactly like that, yeah.
I can see you saying that kind of thing, Alan.
Yeah, I was basically running backwards, just constantly firing grenades down there, going, run! It was carnage, but it's really good fun. It's really silly, but one of the quite interesting features they've done is they've done this kind of connected universe thing, where effectively all players that play this game will affect how different regions on the map, how dangerous they are. So if there's a dangerous area and players ignore that area, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, and it all kind of ties in. I think that's probably the best description, would you say, for it, Alan?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of a where everybody playing in that particular map, they all have an impact on the difficulty level. So a map could, if enough people, as you said, don't contribute in a certain area, it goes up a difficulty level. If it gets up to the maximum difficulty level, then it actually causes a special event. And if enough people don't actually come in and support that special event to fight off the hordes of, I was going to say zombies, of dinosaurs, but let's face it, dinosaurs that spit acid, some are invisible and have electricity. I mean, what's more scary than a raptor? Well, a raptor that spits acid in your face. That's what's more scary. But yeah, so it's all about the input, isn't it? People have to keep completing missions and contribute to the overall score to hold back the forces of chaos.
Yeah.
Well, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So
forces
if nobody
of
plays
dinosaur chaos.
Yeah. So if nobody plays the game, it's doomed. Basically, the game will implode in itself if nobody plays it. The whole map will just be overrun by all dinosaurs. And then in 2 years' time, we'll be like, we
Possibly.
should try that game out. Let's get back in there. You hop back in, just get mauled instantly by a bunch of invisible electric
Respawn dead.
raptors that have breeded uncontrollably. Yeah.
It's literally just
We
a
never
sea
saw the
of poison
T-Rex,
raptors.
did we?
I
never
did.
saw the
when I played it
T-Rex,
on my
did you?
own before I played it with you. I went into an area not understanding how the game worked. It seemed I went into a tier 3 red area, and I was like, oh well. More difficult. I don't know how much more difficult it is. Very, very difficult is how difficult it is. And I kind of walked into this building, turned around, there's a couple of raptors. I went, I took them out. I went, right, I better get out of here. As I turned around, come bounding towards me about 20 feet away was a T-Rex. And I made a very similar noise to what you made, Alan. And tried to run away, and it got me up immediately.
I think they treat the T-Rex a bit like what's it in
Nemesis.
Resident Evil 3, the Nemesis. He's a bit like the Nemesis. So, and it's like he's so powerful and so strong. It doesn't actually say how many T-Rexes you killed at the end card. It says how much damage you did to him. So I'm not even sure you can actually kill the T-Rex. It's just a question of running away and slowing him down with explosions. It's fun. It's a fun game. I don't know how much depth there's going to be to it. It is in early preview, isn't it?
Yes. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's got quite a nice unlock system by the looks of it. So you collect different resources on the way round, and you can level up your guns, and you unlock new abilities as you level up. I think we unlocked an airstrike, didn't we, when we were playing? Which was quite cool. And that's the other thing. With each character, they all have their own individual special abilities. So, for example, there was one I was playing called Rosie, who she can put down these kind of electric fences that kind of shock the dinosaurs as they run through, and you can sort of stun them to kind of crowd control a little bit. Another character I tried had an orbital satellite strike, a bit like the Hammer of Dawn, which was quite cool. Call that in on a whole cluster of them. But yeah, I think it's definitely. You'll have to get it downloaded, Phil, and jump on. We'll have to have a bit of three player. It's just fun, really. It's just stupid fun. Yeah, it's just.
I mean, there's nothing like you boys standing back whilst I end up wandering into a cave, and you're like, "Don't worry, Phil. There's a drop down the end there to see me come running out screaming."
We've never done that. That's outrageous. We'd never do that to you, Phil.
Never.
Good stuff. And I suppose the other thing to talk about,
done that to me ever.
is I managed to get hold of a HBO Max account via a VPN and got to watch Mortal Kombat as well. So, which
Get over here!
yeah. Oh, ouch.
Sorry, listeners.
And that game, well, it is a game, but the film version of the game is awful. However, I loved it. So it's one of those kind of films, a bit, I suppose, like a Fast and the Furious film, where it's absolutely ridiculous, terrible acting, ridiculous story, just terribly written, but there's something about it that's just fun. I mean, the fight scenes are all in a whole pretty good. There's some pretty gory fatalities in it that are quite true to the games, and they'll sometimes drop in like maybe a line from the game. It might be they'll turn around and say fatality, like proper cheesy, like really, really cheesy. But yeah, all the actors, it's not great, apart from one, which is Kano, who is an angry Aussie guy who is just... He's cracking. Every time he's on screen, he just absolutely steals the show. He basically carries the weight of the entire show on his back, really. He's got silly one-liners like when Liu Kang turns up in his big kung fu pants. He goes, that's far enough, MC Hammer, which I thought was quite amusing. I'm sure he calls another one who does like some kind of spells. He calls him Gandalf, I think, at one point. But just one of those silly things, really. But so there was.
I saw that on. I looked up some of the fight scenes on YouTube because, some of the content bleeds across. And I'm pretty sure Raiden turns up and he goes, look, it's fucking Gandalf. Or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Something like that. But yeah, so I guess that's, without sort of going over the other stuff that you guys already spoke about, I suppose that's kind of it from me, really. So let's crack on with the news for this week. So I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Phil with some news around Epic Games first. Take it away, Phil.
Yes, news about Epic Games. So, it's not actually news about Epic Games. It's more news about Microsoft, actually, isn't it? I think we've sort of mislabeled that one a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
But Epic Game Stores has prompted this move. So, Epic Game Stores are in direct competition with Steam, the big bad Steam platform that everybody loves and will never ever get away with, because Steam take a 30% cut of any game sales on their platform. Epic don't like that. So they've launched their own platform a few years ago, and they only charge 12%. So 88% of the monies that gets taken goes to the developer, which is fantastic for the developer. They can put more back into the games, make more games. And Microsoft has decided that's pretty good business sense, actually. Invest more in your developers. They will make more better games. So as of the 1st of August, Microsoft will be reducing their cut of game sales on their platform to 12% as well, which I think is fantastic. It's right in line with everything that Microsoft are doing around Game Pass and the way they manage their newly acquired studios, where they just kind of leave them alone and give them some money. And now, even if you're not a Microsoft Studios, they're going to make sure that you get a bigger cut of any game sales. So I think that's a really great sign for the industry. Maybe you never know. Steam might change its ways. I mean, it's not like it's not worth absolutely billions as it currently is anyway.
I think Steam, they've got such a lion's share of the market. They kind of at that point, they don't really need to do a huge lot. They are the preferred platform by many PC gamers. I mean, even, the fact that you're going to start to see, you already started to see a lot more games coming exclusive to Epic's game store, didn't you? Because they were doing deals, to get people to do exclusivities on there.
I think I read it cost them something like £500 million last year for those game exclusives.
Yeah, so
no,
a couple of days
worth. It was the games that they give away, because they give away like 2 free games a month, and I think it cost them 500 million. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're Epic. They've got Unreal. They're
well, it's not even Unreal. That's a week's worth of Fortnite money, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be
honest. Couple of days.
But yeah, so like I was saying, I mean, Steam, they've got their lion's share of the market, and I think Microsoft, the store is awful. Yeah, I mean, if you ever tried to download a game from the Microsoft Store, it's dreadful. It doesn't work very well. The downloads are all over the place. They go really slow. Like the amount of times I've had to fiddle with things and settings to try and actually get the game to download, because it just keeps stopping. I think I tried to download Gears 4, a while back, and it was just terrible. I think they did talk about their revamping the store as well, aren't they?
Yes. That was another part of the thing.
And I think, them tying things in, if they start, with the whole Game Pass and the cloud thing, and they just kind of unify the Xbox and PC store more, I think that's definitely a good way for them to go. Because at the minute, I think it's probably at the bottom of the list when it comes to preferred platforms on PC for major PC gamers.
Yeah, so I think that's a good move to start bringing it up to the top. I mean, I think the other key point for this is that it's really interesting that they're focusing on the PC market. So obviously with the new console launches, most of the kind of gaming news out of Microsoft has all been Xbox this, Xbox that, Game Pass this, Game Pass that. Obviously they've moved the Game Pass over to the PC as of end of last year. They then had the EA Play that was in Game Pass, and then that eventually moved over to PC as well. So you now get both of those through the PC platform as well. And now they're looking at the actual store itself, revamping it. They're giving the developers a much larger share than they were previously as well, because they were on the 70-30 model, the same as Steam up until the 1st of August. They will be on that model. So yeah, I think it's a good move. They're Microsoft are making waves in the gaming side of it. Phil Spencer's leading the charge, and he is unifying the PC and the Xbox gamers together. Especially with a lot of the cross-platform stuff. Your game saves move across. You can cross-play most games these days. Certainly anything Microsoft, you can cross-play.
Well, actually, on that point,
platforms.
Something that there was an announcement around Halo Infinite, wasn't there? That Halo Infinite, when that comes out, is going to be completely cross-save, cross-play, absolutely completely cross-everything. It's the same platform across PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, everything.
PlayStation?
Unified. I don't think so, mate. No, I don't think so. Unless can PlayStation have a web browser yet or not? Because then maybe you can do it on Game Pass.
I don't think they've done that
yet. Give it some time. They'll find a way. They'll get around it somehow. It's going to pull an Epic on there where they don't want to pay Sony any money, so they'll put it through a web browser like they do with iOS.
Yeah. Have you got much to add on that, Alan? I mean, you're not a PC gamer yourself, are you? So
not really. I think it all adds into what we were talking about, which is Microsoft. Just trying to bring everything into line, and it just makes sense, doesn't it? So they're all about creating the community, as we've said many times before, as far as the gamers, but they want to attract the other side, which is the developers, and they want them to get those exclusives in their store as well. And let's be honest, when you've got big, sort of like companies like Steam that are taking the lion's share, they do need to be checked every so often, and I think 30% is a ridiculous amount of money to be taking from the developers. So if any developers worth their salt, if they want to be brave and go to Microsoft and Epic instead and leave Steam out of the equation, that's a good thing, in my opinion. I mean, I think it's like streaming services at the end of the day, is that, you know, I know that it's very easy when you're on a PC to kind of just have your Steam, you know, open and just download everything from there, but sometimes it pays to shop around and to look at other platforms and see what you can get for a better deal. And if, you know, if the developers are taking more money overall because they're paying out less to Microsoft, then maybe they won't be charging quite so much for the games, so maybe the games will be slightly cheaper, so maybe that's a knock-on effect for the actual gamers themselves. So, you know, it's a good thing, definitely a good thing in my opinion.
I think, you know, very much like when I was before the pandemic days, you know, going around for birthdays or Christmas.
When we could leave the house.
Yeah. You know, going shopping for things for the kids. I remember they wanted stunt scooters. You know, they were sort of all the rage a few years ago. And I could have quite easily gone online, gone to Amazon or, you know, wherever online, Toymaster, just picked some, hit the button and had them delivered. But I went into town and into the local shop. It's actually shut down now, sadly, but it was called Hardcore Hobbies where we live. And all the guys in there, all the guys working in there, they're all BMX guys, skater dudes, you know, they know their stuff, you know, they're passionate about it, they love and they do this stuff themselves. So I went in there and I'm like, look, you know, my kids want these scooters. What do you recommend? I've absolutely no idea. I don't want anything rubbish.
It was you, really, wasn't it, Craig? It wasn't Ryan and Josh. It was you.
I was very tempted to buy one for myself, but that's another story. Chris would have killed me if I did that. Anyway, but you know, going in there and actually, I think I probably ended up spending. I could have bought these two scooters, and I got all the pads and everything. I mean, they were brilliant. You know, it was expert help. They knew what they were talking about. I got the right product. I felt confident with my purchase, but I spent more. I probably spent an additional 30 or 40 quid by buying them through that shop rather than getting them on the internet. But I was happy knowing that I was paying for that service, you know, and that money was going to them rather than just going to a big multinational conglomerate, you know. And that's very similar in this kind of respect. To a degree, obviously Epic and Microsoft are still massive conglomerates, but you know that more of a percentage of that money is going to the developer who's put the time, the effort, and the artistic flair into these games, and they're going to get more of the share of the pie. And I think, you know, it is a big thing, and I think a lot of people will start to look at it that way. I would certainly prefer to buy a game from Epic or Microsoft with that in mind than Steam.
Yeah, definitely.
We just need the Microsoft platform to be better. And Epic needs to be the Epic Game Store. It's not bad, actually. I mean, it's still not as good as Steam, but it's not bad. But you know, the problem up until now is, you know, if you take it 5 years ago, like if you were a developer releasing a game on PC, if you wanted that game to succeed, you put it on Steam. You paid the premium because you would get a much larger audience with a better platform that was slick. You know, I mean, that's the thing. Steam still has those things like the wish lists and the recommended lists. And, you know, it's like the second you open up Steam, you click on it. It's like, you played this game. Here's 5 other games like it.
Yeah.
You know, there's still all this stuff that, you know.
Intelligent algorithms.
Yeah, you're paying that premium to Steam, but actually it puts your game in front of more people. So there is still that aspect. So until the Microsoft and the Epic stores can bring themselves up to that level, you know, people are still going to be releasing games on Steam. Steam is still going to be the number one platform choice. I mean, I know I have a Steam library that's got thousands of pounds in it in games, mostly because I just pay Humble Bundle every month. Even if I don't like the games, I'm like, something goes to charity, so I don't feel too bad. So I've got some woeful crap on my Steam account that will never get played. But it was free in that sense. But yeah,
talking about sort of just on a slight tangent. Now the CD Projekt Red have their own game store, don't they? Called it's GOG, isn't it? Good old games, yeah. Now with that, I've had a little bit of a play with it, but by no means used it, I don't think, properly. But it seems to me you can effectively link all of your different games accounts into the GOG account. So when I load it up, I can load up my Steam account, my Epic Games account, my Microsoft account, or whatever, link it all down there, so all the games are then showing in one place. Which I think is quite good, you know, because I think a lot of people would go, you know, you're going, I want to play, I don't know, Max Payne, for example. I've not played that in ages. Where did I buy that? Did I buy it on Steam? No, I didn't. Did I buy it on Epic? Oh, no, I didn't. Did I buy it on Microsoft? Oh, there it is. You know, you're searching around. But if you've got something like that GOG, it's all in front of you. It doesn't matter where it is. You go, click, and it will just load the relevant software up.
That's a clever feature by CDPR, because that means that you're in their store permanently, even though you're buying games on other platforms. That makes sense. I that's a nice little feature.
It's also they a large majority of their games and they're DRM free as well. So if you own an existing license for that game, you can just get it off the GOG store. So you don't have to go in and buy it again for it to be on the GOG store, and that's a big thing for them. So their main push is around the DRM free stuff rather than it being necessarily a universal platform. Like the DRM side, it made sense to link all the other platforms in, and it just scans effectively your libraries to find out what's on there. I mean, you can put links into Steam in your library if you buy something in Origin that you didn't buy through Steam. You can add a link in there, but it's a bit of a faff to do it. You have to go in and basically save the executable into your games list.
Yeah. So if I had, I don't know, Battlefield, for example, on my Origin account, I could download that from GOG because I have Battlefield.
If you link the account, you can just download it through. But if Battlefield was available DRM free, then it'd just be in GOG.
That's what I mean. But there's not everything DRM free. It's only certain
there
things.
Isn't. No, it's because most publishers don't like the idea of DRM free. It's only certain ones that are allied with GOG that do it. Things like Divinity, I think you can pick up DRM free on there. I think obviously all the Witcher games are available through there as a DRM free kind of download as well. So yeah, that was kind of their big thing. That was what pushed the GOG platform around it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a good bit of platform. I mean, you end up with everything installed. I mean, I've got GOG, I've got Epic, I've got Origin, I've got Ubisoft's one, I've got Steam, I've got BattleNet.
I'm definitely more of a fan of gaming on consoles if it's just purely for the reason that it's an absolute pain in the butt sometimes to get things working on a PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pick a game that's like 10 years old, and it's like, okay, right, I need to download this driver and this driver, I need to disable this feature, and then I tried to play Splinter Cell Conviction, I think about a month ago. Plugged it in, got my Xbox controller paired up. I was like, brilliant. It's the Xbox experience, but in 4K with full settings. The button layout is different. I don't know why. B isn't B. B is X. Y is A. I had to go and find a mod off of... I can't remember where it was now. I just Googled, like, Xbox controller not pairing with Splinter Cell. I was like, you need to download this mod and install it and it'll fix the problem for you. I'm just like, what the heck? Like, Ubisoft, this is a major publisher, this is a big game, you made a lot of money off of this, and if I play it on PC with my Xbox One controller, the buttons don't match. It's like, are you kidding
Probably
me?
be alright if you played it with a 360 controller though, wouldn't it?
I'm not going back to that. That's
can't go all the way back there.
It's like, I've got a motor car, but I'd like to pedal my bike to the shops to pick up some milk.
I've got a motor car. A motor car, Phil.
A motor car, Philip. Mr. Thompson.
Blimey, love a good motor car. Right, great stuff. No, thanks for that, Phil.
I know what my buzzword for the whole of the game is now.
The next stop on this motor car racing track that we're going round will be around one of our very, very favourite developers, isn't it, Alan?
Yes, indeed. I just wanted to say, oh boy, I'm going to stop that right now. I just before I talk about the next story, I just wanted to say that your new setup is looking rather magnificent, Mr. Lata. You showed us a picture of the 3 monitors, which you can kind of just see behind you with the mirror. If you can, do that. There we go. Yeah, so all the monitors set up, but also all your memorabilia and everything with your DeLorean.
I noticed the new picture / poster layout behind there. It's nice.
It's looking quite fly, my man. Looking very impressive.
My lightsaber up there. There's the God of War, Atreus and Kratos. Got Thor's hammer. There's Doc Brown. Me controller. Master Chief's holding me controller ready for xCloud with a clip on it. There's the man himself, Mr. Keanu.
Johnny
and that picture up there as well that Phil got me for Christmas. And
so it's looking quite good, mate. I like it. Anyway, moving on to the story. So this last weekend, it was, I don't know, everybody noticed, was the 93rd Academy Awards, the Oscars. I missed it. There was a time... Thank you very much. There was a time when I probably would have been quite interested and watched it. To be honest, it completely passed me by and I didn't even notice this year. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I don't know why. But anyway, the reason it's in the news or the gaming news is because a little known company, you may have heard of them, Respawn. They've done...
Isn't it pronounced Respawn or Respawn?
Respan. Oh, maybe I've written it wrong. Respan.
They do Titanfall.
Yeah.
And
Titanfall.
Titanfall.
okay, let's stop
I
messing
think
around now.
they're called,
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, no,
Titanfall, yeah, that was
done
one.
that.
Yeah. Oh,
And they have just become the first Oscar-winning game developer. Now, that's the headline. It's a little bit of a misnomer because it kind of makes you think, oh, they got an Oscar for a game, and there is no games category in the Oscars. It's film and documentaries. So, and that's a good thing in my opinion. I don't think you need to mix them up. While I've always said that games are like, for me, story-driven games are like playing a movie where you get to, so I love RPGs, where you get to be the protagonist and you get to make the decisions. You are basically playing a movie. But they're not movies. They are a completely different medium, and they have their own award ceremonies, which we'll get to later, actually. But
many of them, as it turns out.
Yes, we'll cover that in a little bit, Phil. But the headline is actually that they won an Oscar, but it was not for a game. It was actually for a little documentary that they made with Oculus. A little documentary called Colette. And this documentary is actually part of the gallery. So of last year's Medal of Honor game. What was it called? I've written it down. Above and Beyond. That's it.
Yes,
Above and Beyond.
Yeah, the
Medal of
VR
Honor,
exclusive
Above and
one.
Beyond came out in December last year. There's a gallery in there, and it's got lots of little documentaries. It's almost like sort of PR stuff that they released before the game came out, selling the new Model of Honor VR game experience and everything else. And they made some documentaries, and this is one of them. And it basically follows one of the last remaining members of the Resistance, French Resistance, who was over 90 years old, I think. And basically, the documentary follows Colette as she goes back to some of the places when she was in the French Resistance, and this is won an Oscar, and that's fantastic. Best documentary short subject, I believe. So this was the first Medal of Honor game that's come out since 2012. The last one was Medal of Honor Warfighter. I wish they'd go back to Medal of Honor, to be honest. I used to love Medal of Honor games. The VR experience is great.
Never really tickled me.
No, I used to love them. And then it kind of all went the multiplayer Call of Duty stuff, and Medal of Honor kind of fell by the wayside, and they never really kind of went back, apart from the VR experience, which came out last year. So, and it kind of got mixed reviews. Yeah, it kind of got mixed reviews last year. But hey, I don't think they care right now because, Respawn are now walking away with an Oscar, not for the game, but for one of the short film documentaries that's on.
Yeah, I think
the content.
Respawn are really becoming a bit of a jewel in the crown of EA, aren't they? Since they bought them, they've delivered some fantastic experience in terms of games, and then obviously this on top as well. But I've completely slipped my mind the name of the guy, the head of Respawn Entertainment.
Vince Zampella.
Zampella. That's it.
Vince Zampella, yeah.
So he's now the head of a bunch of EA's game studios now, isn't he? He's running
got
a whole bunch of
to oversee, I think, 4 different studios, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, which is again a really good thing, but it just goes to show, I think, as well. Obviously, it's a fantastic studio, and whereas EA bully every other studio into using Frostbite for every single game because it's their engine, and I get why they would want to do that. Unify everything, keep costs down and
royalties.
Stuff. You've got Respawn still, using Unreal Engine, which is what they're good at, and they're making great games from it. But on the other side to that is. There's some fantastic talent within the video game industry, and the lines, as much as I totally agree with you, we shouldn't end up having games within the Oscars and stuff like that. They need to be separate. You have games in the Oscars, you start having books in the Oscars. They're different mediums for storytelling, and they definitely need their own thing. But you see people like Neil Druckmann, for example, who wrote The Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. Some of the most incredible stories, some of the most gut-wrenching experiences that you can play. They're incredible. And I think he is, as far as I'm aware, he's doing something with, is it the movie or TV show they're doing of Last of Us as well? He's part of that.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a TV series.
I believe so.
TV show, with Pedro Pascal. Which is, someone who Phil got mixed up with somebody else a while back. That was the person we were trying to think of. Anyway,
stage left.
But just, seeing this kind of talent really being celebrated cross medium, I think, is really good, and it's only great for the industry being taken more seriously.
Taken seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Because
say take it more seriously, but it's worth what, like double Hollywood now?
no, I totally get that.
Money
And I
they're
just
taking
mean,
I think it's just taken them a while to realise how much money the games industry makes.
yeah, I think it's more. I'm talking kind of mainstream. People who don't understand gaming, and people who don't game themselves just see it as, my wife, for example, she's got absolutely no interest in games. She might play the odd, Words with Friends on her iPad or something like that. But other than that, or
She's
Peggle,
a little competitive at Peggle. Don't forget that.
Just because she kicked your butt at Peggle, Phil, don't be bitter. She kicks everyone's
Mate,
butt at Peggle.
I'm okay because I whooped your ass at Peggle. So
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm colourblind, let's not forget that.
yeah.
Was it a distinct disadvantage?
Yeah, so lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? So I can't remember what I was
You're
even
happy
saying.
to see that the talent was being recognised in the gaming industry as a whole.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with it, but
no, you were going with the whole thing about, there's a group of people who really don't understand that, they just look at gaming and they think, oh, that's for kids, that's what kids do, and it's actually a very adult and mature market. Which has got a great amount of talent that's creating amazing content, amazing stories, and amazing visuals.
Yeah, I totally lost my way there.
I'm very sorry, Craig.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. Yeah, I tell you, I've hardly slept last night. Just as a bit of caveat, I had my COVID vaccination, my first one yesterday, and I've been feeling. Last night, don't think I fell asleep till about 4 a.m. Yeah, no, I just feel a bit tired and a bit.
Those nanites are coursing through your system right now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I just want to just tell everybody just how great Microsoft is and how much I love.
I want to vote Tory all of a sudden. I don't know what it is.
I think you definitely need to be buying a new version of Office, everybody, because Microsoft loves you. Microsoft is great. I love Microsoft and Bill Gates.
Just for reference, I haven't had my COVID vaccination, so I'm still level-headed.
Yeah,
you're insane, the pair of you. Circling back round to the current topic of we were talking about, though, just a quick question for you before we move on to the next topic. So, one of the big things about The Last of Us, for example, is it is quite a long game, and you spend a lot of time getting invested in the characters and getting to know the characters and loving the characters, particularly if you play The Last of Us, the first one, then move into the second one, and then something horrific happens that breaks your heart. Do you think they could get that kind of level of involvement if they move into the movies? Obviously with The Last of Us, they're going with a TV series, which I think is a good move because obviously there's a lot more content, a lot more time to get invested in these characters than if they just did it in a short 2-hour movie. But I wonder how well they could translate some of those gut-wrenching, heartbreaking moments into a TV series or a movie. I don't know if they could.
In a TV show, I think they definitely can. If you watch something like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones, it's shocking when a character gets killed off. In a movie, I don't think it has the same impact unless it is a series of movies a la Avengers. Marvel movies, when things have happened in Endgame. Spoilers, when people die, I won't say anything. But
if you haven't watched it by now, you really just saw your life out.
Exactly,
you really
do. But there's major characters that die in a series that's been running for 10 years, and you're really invested in those characters, and it's shocking when it happens. But in a single 2-hour movie, it's never going to have the impact in the same way. I don't think, anyway. Whoops.
Cheeky follow-up question before we move on quickly then. So do you think that's why a lot of these games into movies tend to fail? Particularly Assassin's Creed more recently was just utter tripe. I mean, they had good actors, they had Fassbender, but it was just distinctive.
I think the main problem with stuff like that is that the people that are creating the movies fundamentally don't understand the source material. I think that, you look at the Assassin's Creed movie and they clearly didn't understand the breadth of the story. It was this is an action film. We're just going to follow a generic action film standard, and we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and we're going to do that. And I think if you're going to make a movie about a game, Mortal Kombat aside, because apparently my wife does tell me that there is quite an in-depth story to the Mortal Kombat games.
Apparently, yeah.
Which I don't know because I don't play. But fundamentally, Mortal Kombat is a game about two people staring each other across a screen, trying to rip each other's head off. Yeah, exactly. Fatality. So and clearly, whoever made the Mortal Kombat film, even though I haven't seen it, I'd have to say, looking at the older version, they looked at the film and they went, oh yeah, we'll make the film like the game, and then they didn't really think about. So I think there's this middle ground where you need to take elements of what the game is, especially if it's a story-driven one like The Last of Us, or even something like Red Dead Redemption. If you made a movie out of that, and you need to take the key components, but you have to remember it is ultimately a film, and it's a different media, and therefore it has to follow different rules. And I think with stuff like Assassin's Creed, they've forgotten that. They've thought, right, okay, we'll take the elements, but they're not staying true enough to the game to make the gamers interested. But at the same time, they're kind of not being adventurous enough.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like you've got to push it a little bit, but at the same time, remember it's a film. And I think that's really difficult to juggle, which is why they fail so often.
Yeah. I agree, mate. I think for Assassin's Creed, for me, I think that film ultimately was quite boring. I thought it was just. It just kind of just sort of didn't really go anywhere. And I think you're totally right. TV shows are definitely going to be a better medium going over for games.
You need that time frame to build that connection to the characters.
Let's not get back into The Witcher.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
skip back over that one. Well, looking forward to season 2. They've finished their wraps on it now, haven't they? So yeah, it's not far off.
I can't wait to see him chop some more monster heads off with his creepy black eyes.
And I think
hopefully
you'll be happy
it'll be in an order that you'll understand.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say, Phil. It is going to be in a way that is completely straightforward, mate. There's not going to be jumping around there. They're making it easy for the layman's like yourself, Phil.
Excellent, mate. Yeah, it just means I don't have to watch it twice, which is probably a bad thing. But if it's good, I will watch it twice.
Oh, good stuff. Cool. Right, let's move on then to next topic. So, we've got some information around Microsoft's Q3 financial results that came out on Tuesday. So, 15.5 billion in net income. That's quite a lot of money.
Year, didn't they? That's a rough year for them.
Couple of pennies.
Quarter, mate, not year. Quarter.
That's a quarter.
So in 1 quarter of the year, they doubled what it cost them to buy ZeniMax.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's income, pocket change to buy that, wasn't it? I wonder who's next on the purchase list.
But yeah, so yeah, it's staggering, really. I mean, just to kind of sum up, just very, very top line, you've got the Windows revenue is up, and obviously the gaming division is up. With the release of the Series X, Series S, and everything that's been going on that way. And there's been some really interesting figures coming out around Minecraft, and it's not actually about Minecraft itself being like kind of a figure for Microsoft, but it's more around the creator numbers. So actually within Minecraft, I don't know, if many people out there still play Minecraft that are listening here. I know you've kind of gone off it a bit, Phil. You used to be big into it, didn't you, Alan? But nowadays,
huge. I'll probably go back to it, but I haven't played it for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's one of those things now. You go into Minecraft and it's got its own kind of like marketplace built in it with loads of different types of mods and game types, and there's a huge creator community within there. And they've actually announced that creators have generated over $350 million from more than 1 billion downloads of mods, add-ons, and other experiences in Minecraft, which is absolutely insane.
350 million.
Yeah, $350 million.
And most of their mods are what, like 79p pound? They're not even expensive, are they?
Yeah, there's all varying ones. Apparently, it's nearly 140 million active users on there, which is up 30% year over year as well from last year. And one of the big things again from this is that actually creators are receiving around 50% of the profits from that as well. So again, that kind of ties very nicely into that kind of first thing we were talking about, where Microsoft are really respecting the community and growing the creator communities.
So how much did it cost? So they bought Minecraft for whatever ludicrous amount of money that was.
It was 2 billion, I think it was.
So they bought that for 2 billion.
Yeah.
And then they released the game and they put it across all the platforms, and they thought, yep, we've done well here. And then they thought, we need to make a bit more money out of Minecraft. So they then put a store in and said, hey, you guys are making mods anyway, so put them on here and we'll give you some money if you sell them. And then they take 50% of that as well.
It's such a fantastic...
that game's just like... How much is it? What, paid for itself like 10 times over, probably?
License to print money, mate.
Since the acquisition,
They're not the only people doing this. One of the games I've mentioned a couple of times that I'm playing at the moment is Terraria. and they're just implementing in their latest update. They're going to be implementing a store for modders, the workshop, and that's going to be somewhere where modders can put stuff in and people can buy their content. I think this is really taking off. I mean, for a long time there's been, I mean, you think about Patreon when they first brought that out, because essentially some guy on YouTube just wasn't getting the revenue from the content that he was creating on YouTube, so he came up with a way that he could actually make money, that people could pay him for creating that content. And this is becoming more and more common in a lot of platforms. When you've got massive games like these with massive communities such as Minecraft and Terraria, let's talk about the Skyrim modders and everything else, then it's only right and fair that the guys that are putting the time and effort into are actually able to make a living off it, actually creating content that people want to buy and actually want to pay for. And that's fantastic.
Having delved into the mod store on Skyrim and Fallout 4 PC side first of all, until they implemented the modding on the consoles, and actually, you know what, like some of the quality of the mods that were developed for that are just ridiculous. Like there's whole storylines, entirely new maps. They've created custom assets to build like new houses. They've got custom weapons and armor. It's just the length that people will go to realize their dream almost in Skyrim.
Bigger boobs on the ladies. Smaller amounts of armor for the ladies with bigger boobs.
I mean, they took the Terra mod where it's less is more, as it turns out. Less means more rating. Same reason OnlyFans came about, I'm sure. Because Patreon banned whatever that was, so you had to put that out. But I mean, I think that's such great news. Like, I love the fact that it's you can make a mod, you can put your heart and soul into it. It's something that you're genuinely interested in. All of a sudden, that you're going to find an audience just like you who think, that's a great mod, and you get some money out of it.
Everybody wins. Yeah. Microsoft make more money, their platform grows, the people who create content for it make money out of it. Microsoft are getting content that they're not having to develop. It's just all in all, it's really good. I mean, my boys both still play a bit of Minecraft, and sometimes I'll go in and watch what they're playing, and they're playing some really random, strange game modes and stuff. And I think, what on earth is this? Like weird deathmatch modes and stuff like that they're playing. It's all different mods and things that they download and play. And again, that's another thing that's been really well unified across platforms. You can play PC with Xbox and mobile, and they've also got all the realms going as well, so you can kind of hire. So we've played before, Alan, where we would have we'd created a world, hadn't we, and we took over a temple and we dug down and made a map room and stuff, and then we kind of went off it. But it was very much, I think it was on your Xbox, so the only time I could ever go into the world was if you were online, so we were online together. But with these realms, you can effectively have a server that if you've got 10 of you, you can all jump on whenever you want to. And we
keep saying it, but we need to do a let's play. We need to do a let's play. Minecraft is a really nice, safe place to start. Let's get a server. Let's get some realms. Let's get in there, and it's
a safe place. Do you remember what happened when we played with me, you, and Sherman, and the TNT incident? I put my heart and soul into my underground map room.
Let's not even talk. Let's not talk about the carpet. That's going to.
Oh no, we're not talking about that. No, we won't talk about that one.
Not the 1945 war orientated carpet design,
or the 100-foot writing outside the window.
With
the giant finger.
A bunch of children.
It was just ridiculous, mate. And then we just covered it in TNT and blew it up to, and then our friend made a video of it to the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which was quite amusing. That's online. We'll have to share it at some point.
It's a great one where I saw the you could see the Xbox chugging down to about 6 frames a second while the explosions are going off. Like
I think it was down to 1 or 2.
That literally killed my One X.
Back to the topic briefly, I think it's something that a lot more of these much larger games, it's something that they need to really seriously think, as you say, because it does benefit everybody concerned. And actually some games that may it may increase the longevity and the lifespan of that game due to not necessarily the developer, but modders actually adding content to that game and keeping people playing because there's something new and something different to keep them interested. And there's a few games I can think of off the top of my head that would benefit from that. So I think some people need to take note of how much money Microsoft and the modders are making from that, and maybe look at implementing it into their ecosystem.
Yeah, I know one of the things that I mentioned many episodes ago now when we were talking about anticipated games for this year and me hoping that Beyond Good and Evil 2 was going to see the light of day. It's looking increasingly like maybe it won't. As the
Probably not.
Looks so
yeah,
good.
as the creator has now left and retired from gaming. I mean, they will have whacked a load of money into it, so I wouldn't have thought it's not going to see the light of day. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. Hopefully, we'll see something at E3. If we don't, I think maybe it might be time to carve out.
There's
the
more
gravestone.
chance of Dying Light 2 coming out of this moment, but I don't.
No, I'm confident we'll see him. But anyway, yeah, I was going to say about not Dying Light 2, about Beyond Good and Evil 2, is they did a whole content creator kind of initiative type thing. And it was what people could do is they could create fan art, whether that be music or be pictures or books or whatever, graffiti art, anything like that. And they could all upload it to like a portal and it would be used within that game. So as long as it was created to kind of be within that universe, you could have your own piece of artwork shown within the game and get credited for it.
Awesome.
Which is pretty cool, so I really like that. And again, more games should do stuff like that, but fingers crossed we're going to see something from there. So
Last point on this topic.
Go for it.
You heard it here first, boys. The Mod Awards.
The Mod Awards.
The
Nice.
Mod Awards, yeah. Just because of the theme of Alan's quiz, which everyone will find out in a minute if I haven't given it away. But the Mod Awards. Do you know what, though? Genuinely a really good idea. If there's some seriously good mods out there that are making money, you know what? Promote the good mods.
It's that whole thing, isn't it? The whole thing about somebody creating a mod and then they get. I think there are stories, aren't there, about somebody like hacking into a game, probably more likely years ago, and they've like messed around with it or changed it and then released it into the wild, and they actually end up getting a job with the developer because the developer goes, "Wow, that is so good. We want you working for us."
Yeah. PUBG was a armor mod, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was an armor mod, and then they branched out and created their own game from it. He was a modder. There's been lots of modders that have done stuff like that. But yeah, good stuff. Cool. Right. Well, that brings us around to it's quiz time. It is a quiz. This is the quiz. This is the quiz.
Right.
Over to you, Alan.
We didn't think.
Lovely.
There you go. Right. Okay. So I've done the quiz this week, and it is absolutely probably going to go to hell because, of course, as I said already, it was the Oscars this last weekend, and therefore I wanted to keep the theme somewhat similar. So I wanted to base this week's quiz on Game Awards ceremonies, and then I did my research and realised there are a lot of Game Awards, lots and lots of different Game Awards: the Golden Joystick, the BAFTAs, the IGN, the Dice Awards. The list goes on and on. So I decided to focus on one set of Game Awards, and it's one that we always talk about whenever it comes around, and that is the Game Awards, which is in LA and has been going on for the last 7 years and is run by Jeff Keighley. And that's the one when we talk about the game of the year and stuff like that we're normally referring to. And I then, as I said, I messaged both into the group yesterday because I thought, this isn't something you're perhaps going to know off the top of your head, and Phil completely misunderstood and didn't do the research. Probably going to go absolutely terrible.
Didn't do the research. I just want to be perfectly clear. Alan just wrote the Game Awards, right? If you put the Game Awards into Google, do you know what comes up? The BAFTA Game Awards from 3 months ago. So I was like, okay, well, that's one of the most recent.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this, Phil. I'm totally on board with you, and I couldn't agree with you. However, the problem where your argument falls down is the problem
it's irrelevant.
Did this about half an hour before we came on. So if you'd bothered to actually do it when we did it, you could have sent me a message and I could have clarified it for you and you could have done the research. So it's still your fault, not mine. Let's move on. This is the quiz.
And to be fair, I haven't done research, but I watched it. So I was like, I don't think I need to do research if I watched it. Hopefully I can remember. I thought I'm just going to go off that.
So this is going to be an absolute travesty. Good luck, Phil.
No, it'll be fine because, the BAFTA thingy Game Awards, I'm sure some of that will line up.
Okay.
It was last year, right?
I'm going to be looking at the last sort of 3 years. So, but you're gaming stuff, so you should be all right. So, and
give it the old college try, don't you worry. And then I'm going to get in my motor car and drive off.
And your motorcade. So, Question number one. Oh no, we're going to need buzzers. Okay, so let's have some buzzers. Craig, what would your buzzer be?
Hideo Kojima.
Okay.
Oh, I see your theory there because you think he's going to win some stuff. So
He always wins something.
I like that. Good.
And Jeff Keighley loves him. He's Hideo Kojima.
One day there's going to be a statue of him at the Game Awards. What's my buzzer going to be? Well, I think it'd be wrong if my buzzer wasn't motor car. But
Okay,
I'd like
cool.
to preface that as if I make any kind of noise, that is me trying to say my buzzer. I've just forgotten it and panicked.
Okay. So
Anything like that.
let's get on with the first question. What game? Here we go. Straight away. Won both best multiplayer game and best mobile game in the 2020 Game Awards?
Hideo Kojima.
Craig.
I'm going to go with Fortnite.
I'm afraid that's not right.
No, okay.
Motor car.
Phil.
You said it was and mobile, yeah?
Best multiplayer and best mobile game.
I reckon that's Among Us.
Nice moves, Mr. Thompson.
All
Well done, sir. That's number one. See,
man.
okay.
Yeah.
Off
Good
the
man,
mark.
good man,
Off
good
the
man.
mark.
Well done.
Okay.
Slightly impressed with
So that's
myself,
Among Us,
actually.
which was made by a developer called Innersloth, who I've never heard of, but they've certainly done well for themselves.
I think that's the only game they've
Played on
made,
Xbox,
isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the only game they ever need to make. I'm sure they've made a packet off that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
Isn't
was
that
good
been
fun.
delayed
Good
on
fun game.
Xbox now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm sure we had a conversation about that. Anyway, continue.
In the 2020 Game Awards, who won the award for best performance in a game?
Hideo Kojima. Not Hideo Kojima, but Laura Bailey.
Well done, sir. Yes, indeed.
that one.
I only brought that one up because I remember we were talking about this the other day. Because of course I'm a big fan of Laura Bailey because she's done tons of voiceover work, but she's in Critical Role, the online D&D game with Matt Mercer that I love to watch. So, right, okay. Question number 3. In the 2020 Game Awards, who gave the award for Game of the Year? Who presented the award?
Hideo Kojima.
Craig.
Was it Phil Spencer?
It was not.
I'm trying
Any
to remember,
ideas?
I'm trying to remember who actually presented it.
Who presented the award or who presented the show? It was Jeff
No,
Keighley.
it's,
trying to-
it's who
No, I know
Jeff
that. I'm
Keighley
trying to
presented
think
the
of, like,
show.
how
It's
many
who
people were on
presented
it.
the Game of the Year award, and I'll tell you, it wasn't somebody in the gaming industry. It was somebody
what year?
from Hollywood.
What year was it again?
last year.
Last year.
Oh,
Norman Reedus.
Motor car.
Oh, go on.
Phil.
Was it Nolan North?
No, it was not.
Oh, I know he
Hideo
presented
Kojima.
something.
Craig.
Was it Norman Reedus?
No, it wasn't. You remembered your
know.
buzzer this time.
I'm out there.
So
I can't think of
it was-
anybody else who was there.
And I remember at the time when we were watching this that I think we commented on it. It was Christopher Nolan.
Don't remember that.
Yeah.
No, don't
What's
remember
that? Christopher, no points. Okay, cool. Okay, so
Well,
is next question, number 4. In the 2019 Game Awards, what game had the most nominations?
Hideo Kojima.
Craig,
Last of Us 2.
that's not right, I'm afraid.
Oh, that would have been 2020.
motor car.
Phil,
Control.
no, it was not Control.
2019.
Motor car.
Phil,
Death Stranding.
that is correct, sir. That is correct. In fact, it was so
You should have
difficult
said
with the fact
Hideo
you're
Kojima.
your buzzer is Hideo Kojima, and I'm going, Craig.
I thought it was
Right,
the other way
so-
around, I'll be honest. So that's a bit of a result. I thought Control was higher.
I'm going to ask both of you, how many nominations did it get?
10? I mean, motor car.
Whoa.
10?
Straight away, Phil, booming.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep, 10
Well done, mate.
nominations. Yeah, straight away. Nice work, sir.
I legitimately
I was
going to
guess 7.
Just sound like
But
a round
with-
number to me, but
Death Stranding having 10 nominations. What game had the second most nominations?
Motorcar.
With 8. Phil.
Control.
Yes, it was Control, because
Yeah.
you just said that.
Yeah. That's the limit of my
Well done,
memory
mate.
from that game now.
Well done.
Doing well, my man. Doing well. Okay.
Oh, nailed
So,
it. Right.
It appears I
back-
can't remember last year as well as I thought I could.
moving back a year to 2018.
Oh,
In
no.
the 2018 Game Awards, God of War won the Game of the Year award. But can you name 2 of the other games nominated? There were 5 other nominations.
2018.
2018.
Oh my word!
Good games in 2018.
Can't think. I can't even compute what came out in 2018 at all.
Any joy, Phil?
Do I get half a point if I can get anything?
I tell you what, I'll give you a point if either of you can get one game. Then one game from 2018 Game Awards.
I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out that year. I think.
That would be a point.
Well done, mate.
Can
Nice
you
one.
think of one? You can still get one, Craig. Can you think of a game?
I
4
can't
more.
think. I can't think.
I shall read them off. First one, I never even heard of, to be honest. Celeste.
Oh,
Next
the
one.
little side scroller.
Yep. Marvel Spider-Man. Monster Hunter World. And a little game called Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah, of course that was 2018, wasn't it? Yeah,
2018. Yeah.
Still never
Feels like
played
so
it.
long ago.
So
played
the
that,
next
Phil,
one,
No.
the next one question is a closest to.
All right.
Sony Interactive had by far the most nominations in the 2018 Game Awards. But how many did they have? We'll go to you first, Craig.
I'm going to say 25.
25. Phil,
around.
how many nominations did Sony Interactive have in 2018 Game Awards?
That sounds a lot. 16? I thought they had less than that. I'm going
I
to
haven't got a clue, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
base on what I've said.
I'm
Do you know
going
what that
lower.
is? That is.
I'm going
What do you
lower,
want to go,
'cause
Phil?
I'm going 16. I'll go 16.
You're going 16. Going 16.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to say that Phil won that because the number of nominations was 20.
Oh, son of- Well, it's just my one.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Pretty close. Okay, so Sony gained the most nominations so far with 26 in 2020. But in 2019, they were knocked from the top publisher nominations position by which developer?
In when 2019?
2019. What came out in 2019? What developer won the Publisher of the Year most nominations?
Developer, you say, or
Yeah.
D-
Well, publisher.
publisher?
Motor
Publisher.
car.
Go on.
Capcom, I think, did quite well. Capcom?
That's
Sorry,
not the
Capcom.
answer, I'm afraid.
I sounded
we can
confused when I
go
said it, that's all.
Activision.
Nope.
Yeah, no clue.
Any more?
Motor car, Square Enix?
Nope.
I'm just saying publishers that I remember now. Ubisoft?
No. You're just going through every publisher. So
You're
that's,
right,
let's,
I'm just gonna give up on that
let's
one, I
say
don't know.
this is done. It was actually Nintendo with 15 nominations to Sony's 12.
Is that because there was another like Legend of Zelda game out or something?
Yes.
Nintendo
Yeah.
have always got loads of great games, haven't they?
So we've already talked about the 2018 Game Awards. So in the end, what game won the most awards with 4 wins overall in the 2018 awards?
Hideo Kojima. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep, that's right.
Nice. I thought it was a trick question. I was sitting there. I was like, but Death Stranding won. This has got to be a trick question. So I wouldn't want to say anything.
Yes, no, it won Best Game of the Year, but it did not win more awards than Red Dead Redemption 2, which won Best Narrative, Best Performance as Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, Best Audio Design, and Best Score and Music. So, yeah, no, took it home. Quite frankly, it should have won Best Game, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
then,
definitely should have.
God of War is an amazing game, but I'm sorry, Red Dead Redemption 2 was, it deserved to win. It didn't. It should have done.
Yeah,
My opinion.
Yeah. I think Red Dead Redemption 2. I went back to play that a little bit after I was playing. What game was I playing recently with horse riding on it? That's it, Valhalla. Which is a great game and everything. And I went back and played Red Dead Redemption 2, and just the level of detail in the horse riding itself, the physics and stuff, it's just streets ahead of anything else. It's just the game is unparalleled. Really is.
It really is. And it stands up. I mean, I need to put it back on, to be honest, because I haven't played it since I got the Series X, so I suspect it looks even nicer on there. But
it's an amazing game.
I reckon if you hold up, there'll be a cheeky Series X upgrade on that at some point.
I hope so.
They're working on GTA. Yeah, they're working on
Okay,
GTA 5 at the moment, I think, aren't they?
Couple more questions before Craig's pain is over with. In the 2018 awards, what game won Best Action Game? And you can't remember 2018, Craig, so unlikely. Go for it.
Control?
That was 2019, but good with that.
Oh,
Yep.
Of course it was. I got excited because I remember
I am going to read through the list of games and call out when you think I read the name of the game. If you call out, you don't get to call out again. Okay.
Like closest to the number.
Mega Man 11 by Capcom. Destiny 2 Forsaken, Bungie Activision. Far Cry 5, Ubisoft. Dead Cells, Motion Twin. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Treyarch Activision. That's all of them.
Dead Cells.
Craig wins the point.
There we go. I know it scored really highly, Dead Cells.
Yep. I think I was I picked that because that was quite interesting, considering those big hitters in that category, and then Dead Cells just goes through and says, "Yeah, we'll have that. Thanks very much."
That scored a lot
Far
of
Cry
kind
5,
of,
Destiny 2, Call of Duty, blooming heck.
Yeah, scored a lot of sort of 9s and 10s that game. A lot of places. There's a big controversy around an IGN reviewer with that, wasn't there? Doing the plagiarism.
Might have been, yeah, where he may have just stolen the entire review from some other guy. Yeah. I don't think he works for IGN anymore. In the last question, okay, so in the 2020 awards, what game won Best Esports Game?
Motorcar.
Go for it.
Rainbow Six Siege?
Nope.
Dota?
Nope.
Rocket League?
Nope. So far, you haven't named a single game on the list.
Motorcar. Rocket League?
I just said that.
Oh, did you? Oh, God.
FIFA.
Is that did they actually esports that? Did they esports FIFA? I didn't even know they do that. No, that's not on the list either. All right, okay. We'll call that a bad one. I won't be invited back to do the quiz.
No.
Craig looks very unimpressed.
No, I just don't know any. I just don't know any of the answers. I'm just like, I don't know.
I won't be able to do this again. But the games are so the games in the list are Valorant, Fortnite, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and League of Legends was the winner.
Another Dota type.
And with 6 points over Craig's 3, Phil takes the wind to what was a very uninspiring and, quite frankly, disastrous quiz. Thank you very much. My work here is done.
I mean,
It wasn't disastrous. Well, it was just our complete lack of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, I think I started strong. I think there, I got like the first three.
I think
from
didn't
there.
I get the second question right? I think.
Oh,
And
maybe,
then-
yeah, you did.
And then I think I guessed the next two.
Yeah.
That was only one of them I knew.
We started strong with the more recent Game Awards. It's interesting,
Like,
actually.
But actually,
I,
after saying at the beginning, Phil, that you didn't really know anything, you actually knew. You got so many questions about 2019 and the 2020 awards right, which was, there's a lot of retained memory in there. You don't even know you got, boy.
Well, the only reason the 2020 ones came out is they're quite similar to the, because I said I've researched like the DICE Awards and stuff. Some of the stuff kind of overlaps a little bit. Interesting on that one actually, because I researched the 2021 DICE Awards. Hades won a shed load of awards, and it's another kind of like small developer like Dead Cells. I think it won something like 8. I want to say I think it's something like 8 or 9 awards, and it won like Game of the Year in the DICE Awards as well.
Never played. It's another roguelike,
Ghost
isn't
of
it?
Tsushima. Yeah, but it beat out Ghost of Tsushima, which I think won again 6 or 7 awards, and it beat out Last of Us 2 as well, which is pretty
That's
incredible.
not an easy thing to do. And I do love it when these awards actually really they don't just look at these big hitters. They look at like the small developers. Just because a game doesn't have millions plowed into it doesn't mean that it isn't a great game. It can be a lot simpler. It can be a much cheaper budget.
Among Us.
That's not to say Hades doesn't look brilliant, but it does. It's great for what it does. But and it's
I can
great
actually
that they're
say, I'm
actually
gonna,
being recognised for that.
It kind of makes me think of like Transistor, which I quite enjoyed playing. So I think I'm actually going to try and find a copy of Hades on PC, because I don't think it's on console, is it? I think it's
I
only PC,
don't
that
think
one.
so. Yeah,
Don't think
I
it
was
is.
thinking I might. Obviously, I've got
The
Returnal
nearest you'll
at the
get
moment.
to Hades on the console is was it Curse of the Dead Gods, which I think I mentioned a few weeks ago. It's not got quite as much depth to it, but it's very similar, and the combat's sublime. It's a great little game. That's on the Xbox. So
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to try and give Hades a punt. I mean, if it won that many awards, and I love Ghost of Tsushima, but if it managed to beat that out, that's got to be a pretty special game.
it's a roguelike.
It's another roguelike, is it?
It is, yeah.
yeah.
Well, as long as I don't
He's
get
gone,
my fill
"Oh."
with Returner.
So all right. Then.
It's just that I played Return. It was such a kick in the proverbials when I got killed.
I think
I'm like,
roguelikes are tough, mate. They're tough. It's that kind of, you got that repetition to push yourself forward, just so you can beat that boss. I think
It's a
I fought
battle
the
of
first
attrition.
boss. Yeah, I fought the first boss in Returnal. I think I fought 5 times, maybe beat him on the 6th. I just kept dying. I wasn't getting my head around it. I was really struggling. It was doing my head in. And then I finally beat that boss, and you move into the next section, and you're kind of, you're making progress.
I'm interested. Is it that thing that looks like a bear that swipes at you?
No.
Okay, because that's
It's
what
the whole.
killed me in
It's
the
the
first
Souls
bit.
effect, isn't it? Every boss you meet in Souls, Dark Souls, the first time you meet them, you're dead.
Yeah,
Every time. And I remember you trying to show me how to do that first boss on the bridge.
Yeah.
And that stopped me more times than I think I tried 3 or 4 times to play the game and always got stopped by him.
Yeah.
And then just that last time I thought, right, no, I'm going to keep doing this. And it took me about 3 or 4 attempts, and I finally got past him. And it's kind of that thing clicks in your head.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of like, oh, I have to beat him this way, and this is what I need to do to win this fight. And then you come across the next boss, and he's got a different set of moves, and it's just you just keep doing it until you get better.
Yeah, but that's, I think, what makes the game so exciting is that like when I beat that boss on Returnal, I had a sliver of health left. It was if they'd hit me one more time, that was it, game over. And I was like, shoot, go, please no. I think I was audibly shouting no across the house. And then it was I finally did it. So it's got a great risk reward thing. But I'll have to show you that at some point, Alan. Maybe stream it out to you or something so you can see. You'd really like that real alien aesthetic. You'd really like.
Maybe hoof your TV out into the garden when I come down for the barbecue in a couple of weekends.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds awesome. Wicked. Well, thank you very much, Alan. Sorry if I looked unhappy with the quiz. I'm just tired, mate. I'm sorry. I wasn't. It was a good quiz. I was just rubbish at it. No, thank you very much. And I guess all that leaves really is it's a bye from me. It's a bye from Alan.
Bye-bye.
And it's a bye from Phil.
Unnamed games.
And it's a bye from all of us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.